What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today I wanted to have a deep look at the magazine attachment for Cold War weapons in Warzone. And this might seem like a little bit of a silly topic up front, however there's some really important inconsistencies here, and this is the type of thing that will likely cause you to start rethinking at least some of your magazine attachment choices on your class setups. For those of you guys that have been paying attention, in Season 1, it seemed fairly rare that we would run into a magazine attachment that actually harmed our aim down sight time, even though the description stated that it would harm our aim down sight time. And as a result, it was almost always just the obvious choice to go with the 6th magazine attachment on your guns, because that's the one that gives you the highest ammo count as well as the fastest reload time. However, in Season 2, and after I've done more testing here, it turns out this is extremely inconsistent, and in some cases, yes, it's still your best bet to go with that 6th magazine attachment, but in other cases, it's actually going to be significantly harming your aim down sight time to the point where it's going to start impacting your gunfights quite noticeably. So in today's video, I'm going to go through the most popular Cold War weapons in Warzone. I'm not going to go through absolutely every gun, I just focus on the more popular ones. And I wanted to have a look at how the magazine attachments impact your aim down sight time as well as your reload time, because some of them are inconsistent in the reload time department as well. And starting it off, by far the most popular gun in Warzone right now is the FFAR. And I'm going to go into a lot of detail with this particular one, and then I'm going to be able to go through the other ones quite a bit faster. With this one, we get a base aim down sight time of 250 milliseconds and a base reload time of 1.62 seconds. With the first magazine attachment, this is the 38 round mag. The only thing stated in game is that this improves your ammo capacity. So there's no stated downside whatsoever, and that's pretty much the results I got here. It doesn't impact your aim down sight time at all, and it slows your reload add time down by about 2%, which is a negligible change. Overall, it does what it states that it's doing. We see a similar story with the jungle style magazine, or the second magazine attachment. With this one, it just says that it helps with your reload quickness, and it turns out that's true. This one doesn't hurt your aim down sight time at all, but it improves your reload add time by 21%. So far, so good. Now let's move on to the third one, which is the 38 round speed mag. And with this one, the pros are an increase to our ammo capacity and reload quickness, and the con is a reduction to our aim down sight speed. And once again, this one's holding true. It does reduce our aim down sight speed a little bit by 14%, and it improves our reload time quite noticeably. Next up with the standard 50 round magazine, this one says it harms our aim down sight time, which it does by 20%, and it has a negligible impact to our reload time. After that one, we've got the SAS mag clamp, and with this one it says that it harms our aim down sight time and improves our reload quickness, which again is accurate. This one only slows our aim down sight time down by 1 frame at 60 FPS, or 7%, which isn't much of a change at all, and it improves our reload time by 26%. So up until this point, with the FFAR at least, the descriptions have been very accurate. However, this is where the 6th magazine attachment comes in, which is the Salvo 50 round fast mag, and this is where things get weird. With this one, it states we get increased ammo capacity, increased reload quickness, and this comes at the cost of your aim down sight time, which is going to be reduced with this, at least according to the description. However, in game, and this is current values with Season 2, this magazine has no impact on your aim down sight time at all. So there's actually no cons to using this, and it does help our reload quickness by 27%, and it does also give us that 50 round mag. So therefore, for the FFAR, this is still the obvious choice. There is no reason whatsoever that you should be using any other magazine attachment but this one. It gives you all of the best benefits with literally no downside. Now, before you click off this video, though, the FFAR is quite special, and it's one of the few exceptions that we see. Let's move on to the next assault rifle I want to have a look at here, which is the Krig 6. Now, keep in mind, even though the magazine attachments might have slightly different names, they all go in the exact same order, and they all have the same stated upsides and downsides in that correct order. So that's why I just labeled this as Mag 1, Mag 2, Mag 3, etc. And with this one, just like with the FFAR, we see the exact same trend for those first 5 magazine attachments where they actually do what they're stating that they do. However, this time, with that 6th magazine attachment, it actually does harm our aim down sight time, and it harms it by a very noticeable amount. It adds 100 milliseconds to our aim down sight time, or 37%, which is a very noticeable increase, and this is the type of thing that can absolutely make the difference between winning and losing a gunfight. So when it comes to the Krig 6, we've got to be a lot more careful with our magazine attachment choice. Of course, we could still use that 6th magazine attachment if we wanted to, But for me, I would actually lean more toward the 4th magazine attachment, which still gives us the maximum magazine capacity for the Krig 6, just like that 6th mag attachment would. And it does still harm our aim down sight time a little bit, but not nearly as much as that 6th one. Now with this, we don't get the faster reload time, but I don't feel like that's nearly as big of an issue, because if you got a 60 round magazine, you can usually pick an appropriate time to get a reload in, and you can wait a couple extra tenths of a second to get a reload in. Whereas you can't necessarily wait that amount of time when it comes to your aim down sight time, which is far more important for winning gunfights. And it turns out this trend is more so the rule now in Season 2 rather than the exception. So based on every one of the guns I've tested so far, the first 5 magazine attachments are accurately stated. It's only that 6th one where we sometimes see that exception. And that's why from here on out in this video, I'm just going to be focusing on the base times versus the 6th magazine, just to keep from overcomplicating things and constantly restating myself about the first 5 magazine attachments, which are all accurate. So the next Cold War assault rifle I wanted to look at is the XM4, because this has been getting a decent amount of use lately. And with this one, it is not one of the exceptions. Your 6th magazine attachment will pretty significantly harm your aim down sight time, and therefore, once again, I'm more likely to go with that 4th magazine attachment to still get the maximum magazine capacity without having as much of an impact to our aim down sight time. Then let's move into the SMG category, and by far the most popular one, this is the MAC-10, which is why I'm going to show all of the values here since it's such a popular Cold War gun. And with this one, you can see that that 6th magazine attachment definitely harms our aim down sight time more than any of the other ones. And also, something interesting here is none of the magazine attachments improve your reload add time at all, even the ones that state that they do. However, on the bright side, none of them really harm your reload add time by a noticeable margin anyway. And I actually saw this exact same trend on all of the Cold War SMGs that I tested for, which were the popular ones. So when it comes to choosing a magazine attachment for SMGs, it's just that aim down sight time that you want to be focusing on. And therefore, with the MAC-10, you don't actually want to be using that 6th magazine attachment. You're much better off with the 4th magazine attachment. You're going to get the exact same magazine capacity, basically the same reload add time, and you're going to get better aim down sight time out of it. We see that exact same trend with the Bullfrog. You don't want to be using the 6th magazine attachment because the 4th one gives you basically all the same benefits without as much of a downside. And finally, with the Cold War version of the MP5, it's the same story. Use that 4th magazine attachment, not the 6th one. As for LMGs, the Stoner 63 is by far the most popular one. And with this one, that 6th magazine attachment does harm our aim down sight time by 84 milliseconds, which is a decent amount. And honestly, since this already has a decent base magazine capacity, I wouldn't even recommend using the ones that boost your magazine capacity significantly. Instead, I'd much rather go with the 2nd magazine attachment, which doesn't hurt our aim down sight time at all, and yet it still gives us a very noticeable boost to our reload speed, which is far more necessary on an LMG compared to other weapons. After that, let's move into the tactical rifles, and the most popular one currently is the AUG. And with this one, we see a massive increase to our aim down sight time with that 6th magazine attachment. You definitely want to avoid this one. Do not use that magazine attachment at all because it's hurting you so much. Now, once again, just like with the LMGs, I don't feel like you need to massively boost your magazine capacity with the AUG. And for me, I actually prefer just using the 1st magazine attachment, which is the standard 45 round drum mag, which gives us a solid increase to our magazine capacity without hurting our aim down sight time or our reload speed. Now, as for the M16, this is the other big exception here where that 6th magazine attachment, for whatever reason, has no impact whatsoever on your aim down sight time, and therefore this is the clear choice. For the M16, you absolutely want to be using that 6th magazine attachment because there's no downside attached to it, and you get the best upsides possible. But finally, let's get into the sniper category and start it off with the Tundra. Now, with the Tundra, using that 6th magazine attachment adds 15% to our aim down sight time, and 15% might not seem like much, but since it's a sniper rifle with an already very slow aim down sight time, you generally want to try to avoid using attachments that are going to increase your aim down sight time, and therefore with this one, I would stick to one of the first 2 magazine attachments that don't hurt your aim down sight time at all. And this exact same thing carries over to the Pelington as well. You don't want to be using that 6th magazine attachment to slow your aim down sight time down. Instead, stick to one of the first 2 if you insist on using a magazine attachment. And with that, that's finally going to wrap it up for today's video. I believe that's covered all of the popular Cold War weapons at least. Really, at the end of the day, the only 2 exceptions I've found where that 6th magazine attachment doesn't noticeably harm your aim down sight time are the FFAR and the M16. With those ones, you absolutely want to be using the 6th magazine attachment, but for all of the other ones, you generally want to be avoiding that 6th magazine attachment. And I would say if you're still trying to maximize magazine capacity, the 4th magazine attachment is going to be your best bet. But for the guns that don't require you to increase your magazine capacity significantly, then you probably want to go with one of the first 2 magazine attachments, because those don't hurt your aim down sight time at all. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for today's video. I'd like to know in the comments section below, what do you guys think about the fact that the FFAR and the M16 have that weird exception to them where you can use that 6th magazine without any downsides? Do you think this is something that should be fixed, or do you think it's fine as is? Just let me know those thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.